A little later on. But we're going to go from college to the pros. Let's talk about Kobe Bryant. You guys know all about Kobe Bryant. He was asked the other day about his career moving forward. He said that he wanted a career rebirth, so to speak. He said that on NBA TV. And here, in fact, is the quote. "I can't say it's the end. I thought the Spurs were done 20 years ago. Those guys are still winning. So to answer the question, I can't say that this is the end of my era because I thought their era was done. And they're still there. So I'm hoping I can have the same rebirth." Skip Bayless, your take on Kobe Bryant's thought of having a rebirth in terms of his last year playing with the Lakers?
First of all, given Kobe's Spurs analogy that he made, I want to thank some of the kids here before the show for chanting Spurs in 6, Spurs in 6. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Don't encourage.
Thank you, thank you. Now back to Kobe's analogy. I got to tell you, Jay, the logic of this eludes me because here we have one of the greatest players in the history of this league nearing the end of his career, comparing himself as an individual superstar to a team that should have won the last 2 NBA Finals. Thank you very much, Ray Allen, for that. I get it that Kobe thought they were done 20 years ago, as in Duncan and Ginobili were done 20 years ago. But what revitalized their careers was that Tony Parker suddenly emerged to me as the best point guard in the league over the last 2 years. And all of a sudden, my Spurs stole Kawhi Leonard with the 15th overall pick in the draft by trading George Hill straight up for that pick. And then out of nowhere, they signed a kid named Patty Mills, who absolutely electrified their run last year. So if you could tell me that Kobe, going into next year, could whip up a smoothie with a little Kawhi in it and a little Patty in it and then top it off with some Tony Parker, and he could drink that smoothie, I would say, okay, I get that. But all I can think of is that Kobe looks at Duncan and Ginobili, and he respects the heck out of how fit they are at their ages. They both dropped a lot of weight over the last 4 or 5 years. They have extremely low body fat at their advancing ages of 37 and 38 years of age. And I get that Kobe loves that, but we're back to Jim Buss, and Stephen A. will join us here in just a couple of minutes, and he's always on rants about Jim Buss. Can Jim provide him with a Tony Parker and a Kawhi and a Patty Mills and a Boris Diaw, and I could go on, because that's where the analogy eludes me, Jay.
Well, I'm not sure that the San Antonio Spurs are the best analogy, but I respect the fact that Kobe's not giving up on the Lakers or his career. I agree, he's one of the greatest players to ever play. I think he's one of the hardest workers to ever play the game. And I don't think he's done yet. But I heard Tom Penn say the other day on the radio that he felt the better analogy was the Boston Celtics when they had Paul Pierce, and then they went out they had a top 5 draft pick. They were sliding and had very little hope, and they go out and they get Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen
yep.
and have the big 3, and they go from last place to first the next year and win the NBA championship. Now, they also had Rajon Rondo. The Lakers do not have that right now.
No.
But there's no reason that with the assets that the Lakers have that they can't get a lot better in a short period of time, especially with the draw that the Lakers can be and the draw that Kobe Bryant can be.
Magic Johnson was on the show last week, and he said we needed a great draft pick and a big-time free agent, and the Lakers could possibly make a run and help Kobe this last season.
They can either do it with a draft pick or they can trade the draft pick and get an immediate asset now. And trading it probably gets them better quicker than having to wait on a young player, because with a top 5 pick, you're going to have to draft somebody young. There are no seniors out there that are ready to help immediately. You would have to use that pick and trade it and get something good out of it.
Right. Obviously, they had a pretty good pick this year in Julius Randle, and
Bad luck.
God bless him. He was lost early to his Achilles. So now we look at next year, and we look at the fact that for whatever reason, the free agents of this past offseason did not want to join Kobe in Los Angeles. How much does Kobe have left next year? I don't know. But I got to tell you, and I've been on the record with this. I know you're a huge Laker fan. I'm starting to dread Kobe's final year because I still fear they won't be able to surround him with near enough to make his final send-off year the kind of year that he's going to deserve after all those great years. It could be a little hard to watch next year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It could be.
That may be true, but I don't think that diminishes. To me, like, I don't look back. I'm old enough to remember Willie Mays. I don't look back on his last years as his career. That doesn't mean anything to me. You know, Kobe Bryant has a chance to, like, I respect the fact he's the ultimate competitor. And it would be easy for him to walk away. And he's not doing it. I respect the hell out of that. I think that's a tremendous statement about him as a competitor.
Well, when you're making like $22 million a year, it's hard to walk away from.
But I don't think he's playing for the money.
You don't think he's playing for the money?
No.
Then
why, Jay, didn't he take less money for these last 2 years so that they could surround him with better pieces, a la Tim Duncan taking only $10 million to play it out with the Spurs?
I think ESPN would be better if we would take less money.
Well,
we're not doing it.
Well, certainly.
I think asking somebody to take less money is crazy.
Okay, but that's a bad analogy because we're not that tight of a team with the salary cap. So I get it. If Stephen A. would take less money, maybe
then we'd be
better.
great.
You're asking people, that's my point. Like, people don't
he's in another echelon.
People don't take less money. That's not what they do. And in the NBA, you're not seeing that all. But sometimes it happens, but it's not the norm.
You know,
and
I'm
don't think
going
you
to
can
throw
lay
this
that
out just real quick. We're going to do this topic in a little bit. Peyton Manning in a similar boat right now. Probably has one more, I think, pretty good year left in him at 39. And now there's a groundswell in Denver. He should take far less money to play next year because every Papa John's commercial we see features Peyton Manning. So it's possible he's making as much off the field as he's making on it. And he is scheduled, if he's on the roster on March the 9th, to make $19 million next year. Well, should he take less? This is just me. If I were in those shoes or in Kobe's shoes, I would take this is just me. I would say I would play for free next year. Everybody says, well, you don't need the money. And you could say, well, you all need Peyton needs the money. And his pride is on the line to take that much money, just as Kobe's is. But again, if you really want to go out on top, you really want to go for that last ring, why wouldn't you play for free? I don't get that. Why wouldn't you?
I don't see that as being an issue at all. I don't know who you would ask to do something for free. I don't get that.
Okay, but why wouldn't you choose to play for free? Wouldn't it maximize your chances? Like Peyton, and he's at risk right now of losing Demaryius and Julius Thomas for next year. Two huge pieces for him. If he said, I'll take half that money, I'll take $9 or $10 million, you would dramatically increase the chances of keeping two of his best, maybe his two best targets, you could argue.
I think that's one of the problems the NBA has, and they don't have very many, but that's one of them, where you have a system where stars decide, you are asking them to take less money for their teams to be better. I don't think that's a workable system long term, and I don't like that idea of taking your best people and saying, well, I'll take less. Mm-hmm. I don't know what other industry does that.
But Jay, do you think that the Lakers obviously would be in a better position if Kobe did take less? I know you don't agree with that system, but would the Lakers be in a better position to sign better players if he did take less?
I don't see necessarily that you have to do that. I don't think that's true. I think they've got a lot of cap space now to be able to go out and get the pieces that they need.
They have enough, and so did the Broncos. But just for the record,
I mean, I don't see those two things as being connected.
You could greatly increase it. There's only one Kobe Bryant, and there's only one Peyton Manning, and they're both in extremely rare circumstances where they might have one good year left in them. Yeah. But they both could not be surrounded by enough pieces to actually win a championship. So it's rare.
Kobe Bryant, 36 years old, tore his Achilles in 2013, then fractured his knee later that season, and then the torn rotator cuff. He's looking for a rebirth. Obviously, I am a Laker fan. I'm hoping for a rebirth. Let's move on. Gentlemen, that was great. We appreciate it. We're talking Kentucky